different?
Before it stops.
Okay.
I was doing a show and we had this. We went 5 minutes into it. All right.
Welcome to the Vinny Mac Show once again. Well, Kay Lazar, we are here with our fine public, and once again we get a chance to somewhat brighten up their airways.
Certainly hope so.
Yeah,
We need brightening up.
we do. And of course, we cannot forget our sponsors. Skunk Soap Remover,
Oh yeah.
definitely can't forget that. Trim Fat, we've cut out all the fat, 300 pounds at least. Yeah.
I use it all the time.
And Gamblers Anonymous.
Oh.
Yes. You can't roll the dice all the time. Just stop when you hit craps.
Not when you hit snake eyes. Boxcars.
Boxcars. Ah.
You know, unless you're playing war or something, or cribbage or something, then you like those big numbers.
Oh yeah.
But when you're playing craps or those things, you're right. Snake eyes.
Snake
All you want
eyes.
is 7.
Oh yeah. You want always the 7.
Yeah.
You big old chips. So yes, Kay Lazar, we are here again, and we are once again going to talk some random stuff.
Oh,
I
can you believe we don't prepare for the show at all?
know.
Yes, yes. By the way, we are people have been commenting on the Vinny Mac Studios here,
Yes.
trying to dress it up a bit. I've heard people on the internet say that it looked like a teenage girl's bedroom. Guess what? That's what it is. Not that we hang around teenage girls, but
No.
this is in like the family home, my family home, and only teenage girls ever lived in this place. So there's like a poster of the Muppets over here, and there's John Travolta from Grease over there, and I mean, we try to so everything. But I mean, I think my sister did a painting back here, which we showed. The books, I don't know. I've never read any of these books. I don't think they've ever read any of these books. You know, a lot of people have books in their apartment or in their house, and it's a trophy case.
It is.
Either they've read them, or worse, they want you to think they've read War and Peace and Ulysses and stuff, but they haven't read them.
No, they haven't read them. They don't know anything about those books.
Now the books with Garfield and Peanuts and Charlie Brown and stuff, Snoopy, they probably have read those.
I take the Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin and Hobbes route.
Those were good books. Yes. Actually, I now I'm gonna flex my muscles. I went to school and I read an awful lot. I mean, get my degree. I mean, I've read almost every major fictional work. Okay, or tried to anyway. And I could probably talk at length about. Or a little length about each one. But let me tell you something. Once I got out of school, I still read, but I don't even want the books anymore. What? I read them and give them away.
Oh, okay.
Now, if they're autographed by the author, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
If I bought them at a place and the author's still alive and I met him and I got an autograph, but on the same time, I just want to give my books away. Now, the only books I do have, not that I don't have a library of books, I have joke books.
Oh.
How can you tell? And books with lots of pictures in them or cartoons in them. Or so, I mean, art, coffee table art books and stuff. Yes. The best book I have in recent years was, we do this show on Facebook, Facebook will download all your photos randomly in a year, and you can see what the book will look like, and they'll tell you to spend like $70. They say it's like $100, but they'll take like $30. It's really $70. I don't want to pay $100 for this book. But the crazy thing is that it was so impressive seeing all these pictures, which we don't see anymore in photo albums anymore. All we see it is on your computer, on your phone or something. So it was sort of neat holding a book with, there I am with my family. There I am with my dog. There I am on my trip to Yosemite. Yeah. There I am with a picture with me and Tom Hanks or something. So.
matter of fact, Tom Hanks, he tried to make an appearance on our show. So yeah. And since he knows Tom Hanks, and we were trying to get a third person on here, but most of the time you can't hear him with this mic we got up here. But that's all right. We still want you to come on, Tom Hanks.
If Tom Hanks came on, I would give up my seat. Tom Hanks. Only thing I made a joke about Tom, but I don't really know Tom Hanks. I made a film with Tom Hanks, but I never saw him. He was the producer of a miniseries I was in called John Adams.
Yes.
And I got to wear a powdered wig and everything. He did come to Richmond, I think, one day during the production, and people were like, oh, it was almost like I think one young girl one extra saw Tom Hanks on the set just walking around, and she blessed herself. I was like, and then he came to the local theater, the Bird Theater, when they showed, I think, like the first 2 hours of it.
Nice.
And the director, who I did meet, work with, Tom Hooper, went on to become a very good director. Directed The King's Speech, won an Oscar, but he worked with me first, and then he made all these movies. He also made the recent movie Cats, which he's back to starting over again. But he's still a good director. And King's Speech and Les Mis and The Danish Girl, a few other movies. He's a British director. David McCulloch was the writer of it, who's a famous historian. He wrote the book John Adams, and I got to meet him on the set. There's a picture of me online. Maybe I'll put it in the comments of me with my powdered wig, meeting David McCulloch, because I'm on the set. And then there's Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti played John Adams.
Yes.
And he was very good. Paul Giamatti is one of the best actors around.
I think so too.
And Paul Giamatti played Pig Vomit in the Howard Stern movie. That's probably the first time anyone ever saw. But you see him in a lot of stuff now. He's on commercials. He has a TV show called Billions. But I think even though he was a very good John Adams, the producers who included Tom Hanks were kind of holding out hope that Tom Hanks would play John Adams. But that Tom Hanks preferred just to be a producer. I don't think Tom Hanks has ever played a president or a former president. But I'll tell you a little bit about the part he lost out to. But anyway, Paul Giamatti was his father was the commissioner of baseball.
That's right, Bart Giamatti.
Bart Giamatti, who was famous for pretty much having to go through all that Pete Rose thing.
Yes.
And his last major thing he did was throw Pete Rose out of baseball. And it still holds on today. And a week later, he died suddenly of a heart attack.
Yeah.
And so every time Paul Giamatti's on a talk show, they always say, "Do you blame Pete Rose for indirectly killing your father?" And he said, "No, my father smoked some like 3 packs of cigarettes a day. That's what killed him." So so don't smoke.
Don't smoke.
Tom Hanks was up for the part. The studio wanted him to play Nixon in the Oliver Stone film.
Yeah.
They wanted either a big star like Tom Hanks, or they wanted Jack Nicholson. At the time was a big star. But what happened was they compromised. Oliver Stone didn't want those guys. Disney, I think, for Touchstone Pictures, wanted those guys. So they compromised on Anthony Hopkins, who was a very good actor, and he's like the best actor, and he played Nixon. But Oliver Stone, who Oliver Stone wanted to play Nixon was Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, played Sid Vicious.
Yes, Gary Oldman. Are you kidding me?
He played Churchill. I mean, he's a good great. He won an Oscar years later. Yeah. But he played John. No, I keep saying John Wilkes, but he played Harvey Oswald in JFK. He's been in a lot of Oliver Stone films, so of course he wanted him to play Nixon. But no one's going to see Gary Oldman as Nixon. My dad has it's funny, you go through people's videotapes and their DVDs or their record collection. And I was going through it, typical like Hollywood musicals and stuff and old time comedies and stuff. And then I come across Frost Nixon. movie with
No
Frank
way.
Langella playing Nixon and Michael Sheen playing David Frost. It's based on the interviews they had. It's directed by
The Washington
Opie.
Post movie, right? Or like the interaction between Nixon and the Washington Post.
No, that was a good movie too. That was All President's Men. I'm talking
Oh, okay,
about
okay.
I'm talking about when Nixon retired. Or Nixon didn't retire. What happened was, like 2 or 3 years later, they paid him and David Frost all this money to have this interview on syndicated television. And but I was surprised, and he said, "Oh, I really like that movie. I think that guy played a great Nixon." Um, um, you can lie with the best of them.
I'm not a crook.
I'm not a. Oh, by the way, and you know, he's most famous for saying, "I'm not a crook." Let me tell you something. Never say I'm not a crook. I see a lot of people in the news now saying I'm not a racist, and once you have to say that, you probably are. And you probably and when Nixon said I'm not a crook, that's when I know he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He's like, see ya.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you something.
Yes.
I was just mentioning DVD collections and record collections. I never hear you talk whole lot about music. Is there any like music? What is your like CD collection? Or even what music do you like to listen to?
Believe it or not, I do not have a collection. I don't have any collection of any sorts, except for maybe my old gospel CDs from my old church in Chicago.
Okay.
Pastor Maceo Woods, uh, Christian Tabernacle up in Chicago. We used to go there as a kid. My father would collect all the CDs and the tapes and everything, and we just listened to them. That's the only thing we really collected.
Oh, I mean, this was national in Chicago.
Well, no.
Or did you live in Chicago?
Yeah, I lived in Chicago
Yeah.
when I was a kid, and of course I lived there again when I was in college.
Yeah.
So I got a chance to go by to see Pastor Woods once in a while.
Oh, so you know.
Yeah, so I know. Yeah, unfortunately he passed away back in January, which is real sad. But he was known nationwide for playing the Hammond organ.
Okay.
He was one of the first few people to do that, and created a gospel, what you call a troupe. And he used that to spread the message worldwide. He would take his singers all across America just to sing.
Oh, okay.
And just to spread the message of Jesus Christ and everything. And it was like, that's how he became famous.
Oh, okay. Pastor Woods.
Pastor Maceo Woods.
Maceo, I like his name. Maceo.
Yeah, I do too.
Maceo, like Maceo Parker of the James Brown band.
Yeah.
Also from Chicago.
All from Chicago.
The only major minister I know from Chicago is Reverend Wright. That was big news.
Oh, yeah.
Barack Obama's preacher. He was mentioned so much on Fox News, and only Fox News was mentioning him after. I mean, like 3 years into Obama's presidency, they kept talking about him like he was still a major guy. And I said, if I was Reverend Wright, I would have said Fox News and Bill O'Reilly. Thank you,
thank you,
thank you, note for mentioning me so much. Everyone else has forgotten about me.
Yeah,
thanks for getting my name out there. Now,
anyway, when it comes to music, I would just listen to all types of music. It doesn't matter.
What's on the radio?
Whatever's on the radio. But most of the time, I listen to sports radio.
No singing.
Yeah, but I will listen to like 80s music. I do love 80s music.
What bands?
Oh, like ABBA and Whip It, the Whip It band.
Devo.
Yeah. Let's see. Of course, Michael Jackson and Madonna.
Oh yeah. That's
and
really
Billy Idol, Billy Joel, and who else is out there?
Billy Joel. Did you go to any of their shows or anything?
No, I did not. I was too.
You went to sports. I have a feeling you're the type of guy that if you had a chance to go to see a band, a famous band, or a sporting event, sports wins.
Always sports, except for one person who I would trade sports in to go see.
Yeah,
and that would be Weird Al.
Weird Al. He spoofs everybody.
Yes.
So he parodies. So he would. When you see him, you've seen them all.
That's right.
Making fun of all of them.
I covered all my bases.
Weird Al is good. Yeah.
Actually, to tell you the truth, when I was living in Chicago, I went to see him at the Star Theater in Maryville, Indiana. I got a chance to see the show, and after the show, he would greet everybody and everything. I stayed over because I was talking to a friend.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, I see Weird Al in a crevice between two trailers.
Yeah.
He's talking with one of his band members, and I say, "Hey, Weird Al," says, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, "I love your show." I lied to him and said I came all the way from Virginia.
Came all the way from Virginia.
But I am from
I did
Virginia. But he says, "Oh, thank you for coming. Hey, I'm glad you enjoyed the show."
His accordion.
Yeah, it's according and everything, and that was real nice. And yeah, he went back into his trailer.
Usually when I see celebrities, I recognize them, but sometimes I don't recognize them. I tell you who I don't recognize a lot are ball players, because you used to seeing them in the uniform,
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
costume they wear,
yes.
the baseball cap,
Yep, yep.
and then when you see them just wearing regular clothes, you have
Yeah,
some of
it's
you might
that guy.
recognize. You might recognize Shaq, but that's
Yeah.
about it. You might recognize Dick Butkus. But
Yeah.
that's about it.
It's like, who can't recognize him? You know what? When it comes to music, I'll just listen to almost anything. When I was in the Navy, heck, I listened to hard rock, even though it was out in the Mediterranean Sea for 6 months, and that's all I heard, hard rock. So I knew about Green Day and Slipknot and
Oh wow.
Kiss and all the rest of these guys. But yeah, I'm a free guy. I listen to anything.
I tell you what probably happened when you were away from home. You probably, couldn't care less about that music when you're growing up with it or something.
Yeah.
But then when you're away from home, I'm not kidding you, you're so like out of your element. This happened to me when I was living in Europe. You're in the Mediterranean Sea, and you have to listen to their music, and it's not as good as what you think your music is like. And then you hear something familiar like Green Day or hard rock or something, and say, "Oh, that reminds me of home." And then you like it. The same thing happened to me about jazz, because I didn't really like jazz, and then I went to college and I like pretty much all I listened to was like top 40 stuff and classical music, and then but there was jazz there, and I heard, but it just sounded like a bunch of noise to me. And then when I went to Europe, just parts of Europe, like where I was living in Ireland, you never heard jazz. If you heard jazz, you heard
I love jazz.
yeah, you heard like Guy Lombardo or Lawrence Welk or something. That was their jazz. So then when you'd hear something, it was still there. I mean, there were record stores and everything.
Yeah.
You would or Duke Ellington or something, and you say, oh, this, and then I just wanted to hear more and more and more of it, and then that became my favorite music. I mean, just because I didn't have it, I missed it, and it became my favorite. And I used to not like reggae. And even when I started liking jazz, I didn't like reggae. But now I like reggae. You always never think you're not going to like something, because your taste may mature and get better as you get older. We get smarter, and you start to like things. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you two things, Kevin, that you probably don't know about me.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite music genres are polka and bluegrass.
All right.
Yeah.
Polka.
Yeah.
Which would be the accordion.
Yes.
And then Weird Al.
Yep.
Roll out the barrel.
Roll out the barrel. Especially when I go up to Wisconsin and they have all the polka stations just north of Chicago. You go up to Wisconsin. That's what I would listen to. I would listen to polka.
Yeah.
I try to listen to it all throughout Wisconsin.
Yes.
And it's just wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think lot of Polish people live in Chicago and in Illinois and in Wisconsin and Indiana, and then it's very popular there. Yeah,
it is. It's very popular up there. And bluegrass, I just like the sound of it. I think bluegrass, in my opinion, is better than country.
Yeah.
Because bluegrass is more true to life.
The real stuff.
The real stuff.
Yeah.
Country can be just nothing but sad songs. I'll listen to it, but bluegrass, they got the good beats.
I tell you about country music. I'll tell you about country. Like country music is like all the time. It changes over time. Bluegrass never really changes.
Yeah.
And that's why that's its appeal, because it's true to its roots, almost like Dixieland jazz is that way. It's a traditional tribal type music.
Yes.
And where I was living in Ireland was bluegrass music from America was very popular, because a lot of the Irish people that came to America brought it, and then that became sort of the style, like the Carter family and Bill Monroe, and that became that what used to be sort of Irish music now became the American country music, and then of course it changed over time. Everything changes. But oh, by the way, I actually met The Statler brothers. Oh yeah, from Waynesboro. Yeah. I met didn't meet the Statler brothers. I've met Bill Monroe.
Really?
Yeah. I'll put a picture on the. I always like on the comments whenever I do shows with other people whenever we mention stuff, I always try to put that in the comments so people know. Almost like footnotes.
Yeah.
In the annotated Shakespeare work, you have to find out what every word is.
Well, believe it or not, Kevin, when I was a kid, and of course when country music was really big, especially on TV, film, and radio, there was always two people who I always wanted to meet.
Yeah.
I always wanted to meet. Unfortunately, he's passed away. Kenny Rogers.
Oh yeah.
I always wanted to meet him, and I've always wanted to meet Dolly Parton.
Islands in the Stream.
Yeah.
So you got them both.
Got them both. I just wanted to meet Dolly Parton, really.
Yeah, she is a very good singer. I mean, when I say she's a good singer, she really is a good. I mean, people see her on television and with the wigs and the boobs and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not on when you listen to her.
That's
You
right.
just hear the voice, and the voice is like crystal clear,
Oh,
and
it's
it's amazing voice, and
yes.
and she really puts a song away. And I saw her at King's Dominion in 1990.
Oh,
It was and it was she sings a lot of duets with people, so she always had a guy in her band that had a good voice. That he's going to help me sing Islands in the Stream, or hey, he's going to help me sing 9 to 5 or something. And because she couldn't, because Kenny wasn't going to show up for the
Here comes Kenny Rogers walking out. It's a surprise.
In New York or somewhere. Nashville, he might have going to come, but not in Richmond, not at King's Dominion. No. But also or Billy Ray Cyrus, or was a big hit at the time. Had a song with Dolly. What else? Kenny. I think I told the story. For Kenny, I saw Kenny in the Christmas parade.
Oh yes.
So, yeah.
Kenny Rogers in that good old Richmond Christmas parade.
Yes.
Oh, that was great.
Those weren't parades, parties, movie theaters. Remember those days?
Yeah.
Gosh, it seems just like last year.
I know. Bring them back. Bring them
No,
back.
don't bring them back yet. Wait for everyone to get healthy and then bring them back.
Well, I tell you, I've always asked a person or two when I'm in a long conversation when we talk about famous people.
Yeah.
Was there anybody, and I'll give you the answer to my question. Has there ever been a celebrity that you've always wanted to meet, but you have not met them?
Well, who died, maybe?
Well, you can say
if
that.
they're still alive, I probably have met them or look forward to meeting. Mike Pence is the vice president. He was in a debate last night, and I made a joke that I've met a lot of celebrities, never met Mike Pence, and I think the reason why was he was too busy being boring to other people to have any time for me. But no, famous. Well, I mean, I would like to meet a lot of the former presidents. All of them, because I like presidents a lot. I know a lot about presidential history. I like a lot of famous worldly. Nelson Mandela, never got a chance to even see in person, but I've met. But I mean, it's who I have met that I'm most happy about. I tell you, my favorite all-time comedian is Groucho Marx. Never got to meet him. The funny story about meeting a celeb or not meeting a celebrity was the famous painter called Marc Chagall he's originally from Russia, lived in New York during the war years, and then moved to Paris. Not moved to Paris, moved to Nice, the French Riviera. Now, this is when was this? 1986 or something. And what happened was I'm in Nice. I've never been to Nice before. And he dies the same week. And I said, I would have liked to have met Marc Chagall before he died. He was 98 years old.
Okay.
And then I thought to myself, wait a minute. He was 98 years old. He waited as long as he could to meet me. And it's not his fault. Marc Chagall.
No.
Yeah, so.
At least you got a chance to meet him.
And didn't meet him.
Oh, no,
I didn't meet him. That's the whole point.
That's right. You didn't meet him.
I showed up at not at his house, but showed up in the town he lived in. But actually, famous artists. I don't think. No, I met Peter Max once.
Okay.
He's the only famous artist I can think of that's living today.
Uh-huh.
And authors, I met Tom Wolfe, who just died last year
Oh yeah.
from
Oh,
Richmond.
yeah.
But a lot of
Tom,
famous
yes.
writers. I haven't met any. I didn't meet Tennessee Williams or
Mhm.
Gore Vidal or or who's about Arthur Miller
Arthur Miller.
and Mr. Marilyn Monroe.
Yep.
Now, who would you like to meet?
Well, for me, who has passed on, I would have loved to have met Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I bet if he was still alive today, he probably would have been governor of Georgia at least 5 or 6 times. And it's like, I'm stopping right there. I'm not going any further than that. I am not running for president. And believe it or not, I would have loved to have met Milton Berle,
Milton.
the man of television.
I was just thinking about Milton Berle. Milton Berle is famous for everything,
Yes.
and he had a long career. He once hosted Saturday Night Live,
Mm-hmm.
and this is back in I think 1976 or 77. He lived another 20 years after
Oh
that,
yeah.
but he hosted Saturday Night Live, and it was a, from what I gather, I watched it on TV. It was, they
Uh-huh.
said it was a complete disaster. I if you and they wouldn't even show it in reruns when they show all the ones with more cowbell and
Oh.
Rosanna Dan. They never would show this episode that I remember, and then they started showing it again on
Uh-huh.
the like cable television when they repeated Saturday Night Live,
Uh-huh.
and it actually is. It's not all that bad. It's actually pretty funny. I think the problem was not that the show was so bad, the
Uh-huh.
episode was so bad, but they didn't he didn't get along with the people that he was doing. He was, I think, trying to
Oh.
tell everybody how I've been in this business, 50 years. I know what I'm,
Uh-huh.
and people did not want to hear that. They let's do it our way. He goes, no, no.
Yeah.
I always feel that's why I've always had very big success everywhere I go because I always let them run the show, and
Let them do it.
yeah, they. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not there to change anything. I'll do my own show
But,
if I want it my way.
but, I,
Yeah,
but I understand where Milton's coming from. He is the old salt dog of
yeah,
television. But yeah, this is a group that you coming over here to host for. I
yeah.
remember he came to Richmond one time,
Oh yeah.
and I always see that picture at the Bird Theater.
Yes, he was. I tell you where that picture is from.
Uh-huh.
He was in a movie directed by Howard Morris, also known as Ernest T. from the. He's not in the movie, but he directed it
Uh-huh.
from the Andy Griffith Show. And Milton Berle is called "Who's Minding the Mint?" And a lot
Yes.
of actors, and they for some reason premiered it in Richmond, and he showed up for it. He was also, I think, here in the '50s or something for the Tobacco Land Parade, which was a big deal in
Oh
those days. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was a big
Yes.
deal, and all the big stars once a year would, not all the big, but one big star would come every year
Mm-hmm.
to be the grand marshal. Frank Sinatra, I think
Mm-hmm.
Rona Martin did it once, and I think Milton Berle did it. Yeah, but Milton Berle, I never got a chance to see either. Milton Berle, what can I tell you? I could tell you jokes about Milton Berle, but Milton Berle. Problem with Milton Berle is that Milton Berle is always Milton Berle.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever he does like a serious part, hey, it's Milton Berle. He was
Yeah.
the first Batman villain that I watched. Like Burgess Meredith was the Penguin and Frank
Yes.
Gorshin was the Riddler
Mm-hmm.
and Cesar Romero was the Joker. But I didn't know who those people were. I only knew them as those characters. But then when in the last year of Batman, Milton Berle played Louis the Lilac, and when they said, "Oh, it's Louis the Lilac again," and then they show him in a costume, it's Milton Berle. Even as a 6-year-old, I knew it was Milton Berle.
That's why Milton Berle was so famous because he can be whoever he is, and everybody knows who he is. Well, I always wanted to meet Don Adams
Yeah.
because that guy was amazing, especially playing Get Smart,
Oh
and
yeah.
he did Inspector Gadget
Oh yeah.
in my kid years. Any of the Three Stooges.
Any of the three.
Yeah, I would have loved to, especially meet Curly.
Curly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Curly, I, I don't know. I think he died in the early. He was the first one
50s.
to
Yeah,
die.
he's the first
Early
one to
50.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
Shemp died in a cab ride. He just
Yes.
died of a heart attack all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
all of a sudden.
And then Larry and Moe died in I think the same year, 1977 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what
So
it
that
was.
was the end of the Three Stooges, and the Three Stooges. They're the greatest.
I know. I would have loved to have met one of them. But living now, not many. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, that's a good point you make because I used to love reading celebrity magazines like People or even any magazine. For example, like GQ or Esquire,
Mhm.
which is still a good magazine,
Yeah.
but they'll profile celebrities and they'll put celebrities on the cover,
Uh-huh.
and not that those people aren't interesting or not that the articles aren't interesting about them,
Uh-huh.
but they're not all that interesting to me. A rapper who's popular
Yeah.
right
It's
now.
popular.
I, I
Ah,
the only rapper in the day I knew was MC Hammer,
yeah.
and I barely liked any of those guys. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. I'm just saying that wasn't interesting to me.
Right. Well, I was more of an 80s rappers guy. I
Yeah,
like the 80s rap. The
yeah.
90s rap was too harsh. I could care less about that. For today, well, my list, like I said, is early. It's really short because I've already met um, Michael Jordan.
There you go.
I've already met Christy Yamaguchi,
There you go.
who I really wanted to meet. I already met what's her name, Lu Chen. All these
Yeah,
are figure skaters. Midori Ito. I already met
yeah.
her. I already met Bob Barker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And who
Were
else?
you on his show? I
Huh?
mean, were you in the audience at a show or something?
Yeah, I was at The Price is Right.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, when I took Granddaddy out there back in 2000
Yeah.
with Mom and Dad, and that was great stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Granddaddy got a chance to meet Bob Barker. That's his man.
Yeah. Bob
Yeah,
Barker.
yeah, Bob Barker.
Looks like Joe Biden.
Yeah. You know what?
Mm.
I thought that was Joe Biden.
You know that Bob Barker, it's important to note that when he left that show, he was, I think, the oldest man ever to have a show. Like he was
Yes.
like 91 or something. And he's
Yes.
much older than that now. He's still alive. And I
Mhm.
guess he's still in pretty good shape.
Yes.
He's probably a health nut now. And then they replaced him with Drew Carey.
Which I still don't understand.
And the first day Drew Carey did the show, I think he broke his finger. And this was a
Uh,
guy. Here was a guy that was much older,
yeah.
that never missed a day.
Yeah.
And then the first day they hire a guy that at the time was kind of out of shape and everything. He breaks his finger on that Plinko wheel or something.
Yeah, yeah, the
He
big
got it caught
spinning
up in
wheel.
something. Yeah,
Oh
he got it caught
man.
up. Yeah,
And as a matter of fact, Drew has been hosting this show, I think, for 10 years now.
yeah,
And he's still messing up.
yeah.
He still screws up. I
Well,
mean, golly, Drew, get off the show.
we were talking about The Price is Right once before, and I have to say this again. If you're watching The Price is Right at home,
Mhm.
get a job, read a book. It's the show you watch when your mind is completely empty. I don't have better things to
well,
do.
really, the plan when I was a kid, and this is going back to 1984,
Yeah.
our family was going to take a trip to California.
Hmm.
And my sister and I, we're big game show nuts. So
We talked all about game shows last week. I
yes,
remember.
we
Yeah, that was a
did.
good show.
That
Yeah.
was a great show. And we were going to go out to see the game shows along with meet my cousin out in LA.
Yeah.
And I believe at that
See a
time,
movie star or something?
yeah, maybe see a movie star or two.
I
But
mean, is he a movie star? Your cousin?
no, no, no. But he's met movie
Oh, you
stars.
met? Yeah.
Yes. And matter of fact, my cousin at that time, he was with Chips.
Mhm. Oh, he's
So
a policeman. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
California Highway
Oh,
Patrolman.
great.
So then he moved off from that and then became
Did he
chief.
meet Eric Estrada?
He actually did. He met Eric Estrada and John Wilcox
Yeah. Okay.
when he was chief of police over at USC, over at
There you go.
University of Southern California.
There you
And he met a bunch of movie stars when he
Yeah.
was chief of
There
police.
you
So we didn't, my sister and I, we didn't care about that. We just wanted
go.
to go see the game shows.
Oh yeah.
And we were going to go like to Press Your Luck at the
Yeah.
time. We wanted to try to sneak into the Prices Right. Then we
Mhm.
found out it's like you got to be 18 years or older. And games like Match Game and Dream House
Yeah.
and Wheel of Fortune. We wanted to try to sneak into all those shows.
Well, I tell you, you were talking about celebrities and game shows are good. You know, a lot of shows like Match Game and Hollywood Squares that have celebrities on them.
Yeah.
Now, as part of their show.
Yeah.
Password.
And
then what's kind of neat is that this gives you it in a nutshell, as far as I see it, is that when I was a kid, if I watched the Hollywood Squares, there was like 9 celebrities. I knew every one of them. I knew the shows they were on. Now I'm watching them like on ABC on Wednesday nights, and they have Match Game. Half those people I don't know who they are. I recognize Alec Baldwin, who's the host, and that's about the only one.
That's about it.
There might be one comedian I might recognize, like Howie Mandel.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
about it.
Maybe. And Alec Baldwin sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks at being a Match Game host. I could have done a better job than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I always wonder, you know, and you know, I try not to be jealous. When you're younger, you're jealous. As you get older, you're not as jealous as much. But you when you're trying to get a job in broadcasting, radio, or anything, acting or something, and you see less talented people make it.
Yeah.
You say, well, what happened?
I know what happened to us. I mean, it's like, yeah, when you see less talented people make it, then you know something is wrong. But then it almost reminds me of us being on the Gorgeous George show.
Well, that was a good show.
That was a good show.
It's still a good show.
Yeah, still a good show.
It's even better when we're on it.
That's right.
It's fine.
It is fine.
Now, I gotta show you something.
Yes.
I've been meaning. I was supposed to show this last week, but you know, sometimes I have to. You know, I sell vacuum cleaners door to door, and sometimes people have mean dogs.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I have a baseball bat that I used to. Well, I've never used it, but it's always like if I know a mean dog is somewhere, I just like show it to the dog. And what's really neat about this baseball bat, I've never used it as a baseball bat though. I've never used it to hit a dog either, but it's always there. Well, I don't want to hit a dog. I don't want to hit anybody.
That's why you don't want to hit anybody.
But this is really cool. It has my Kaye Lazar's not my real name. It's Kevin Kravitz, and I have my name on my bat.
That's awesome.
It's a Louisville Slugger. A Louisville Slugger.
And you played on the 86 Mets?
I played on the 86 Mets.
The world champion.
I'm a citizen of the world. And what happened was when I was a kid, you know, I loved baseball, I loved playing softball and everything. I mean, I would play all day long in the summer.
Right.
We after a while we stopped even keeping score. We were just playing. Okay, it's your turn up, bat. You know, your turn. And kids, forget about 9 players on a team. There was something like about 20 players on each team.
Yeah.
We just loved baseball
and
softball, and we would go to the diamond and play it. And like I said, I would be there all day, and you'd use all these bats. You'd have a famous ball player's name on your glove, and on the Louisville Slugger, you would have the name on it. And I always thought, man, that is the greatest fame in the world to get your name on a baseball bat.
Oh yes.
And I got my name on a baseball bat. Now,
world champion.
They figured it out. They figured it out that they could make money, Louisville Slugger Company, by putting your name on a bat and selling it to you at a higher price. But your name's on a bat. You can show all your friends that you're. Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. Now, wasn't that the last year the Mets won the World Series?
It's been a while. Yeah, they beat the A's. I think it was.
No,
the Red Sox. That was a famous one where it went right through the guys. Bill Buckner. Yeah, that was the famous one. That was that they were like 1 out from winning the World Championship. It was like and there was and then years earlier I guess against the Cardinals in the late 60s, they were something like an inning or a couple of outs away from winning it again, winning it before. And then they had to wait till rather our recent time to win quite a few. And it was a Greek tragedy, the Boston Red Sox. The only thing worse than the Boston Red Sox was Chicago Cubs, and then they won a few years ago. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I forgot to tell you, we didn't get a chance to go on that California trip in 1984.
Oh, you didn't go.
No, we didn't go because we were planning it so much. Heck, we were even thinking about going to the Gong Show. But I don't think they would let kids into the Gong Show.
See Rex Reed.
Yeah.
J.P. Morgan.
JP Morgan. Oh, I love JP Morgan. I love her. But you know what was really funny? I always loved Jean Jean the Dance Machine.
Yes.
And the Unknown Comic.
Yes.
It's always funny. The Unknown Comic will have all these jokes. It's like that joke I told George. Because remember that Halloween show we had?
Yeah.
And of course, George was always ribbing me about where's my costume and everything.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, George. Yeah, it's like, I'll tell the joke. But this is from the Unknown Comic. It's like, okay, George, yeah, I got a costume. I say, okay, all right, let's play horsey. It's a two-part costume. I tell you what, George, I'll be the head, and you just simply be yourself.
Yeah. That's right. I remember you know, I always want that's the best horse costume is one where one person is in it and it's a two-legged horse.
Yeah.
And once two people in it, it's a fight to be the head.
That's right. Oh, I tell
It's
you.
like
it's
like
goodness.
the what's that? The human centipede.
Yeah,
No fun.
yeah, it's no fun. It's no fun.
No fun being the back of it.
Yeah, no fun being the butt.
Yeah.
But you know what? That was just so funny when I heard that insult. And I told George that yeah, he can be himself. In the second part of the costume. But what's funny, you can only use that joke, once in a while.
Well, jokes, it's weird. Like for example, if you know me, I'm telling jokes all the time.
Uh-huh.
And I like to think I have a lot of jokes to tell, but sometimes if you hang with me a lot, say like you're my girlfriend, for example, you will hear a lot of the same jokes over and over because I'm telling them to different people. And then so and so, a girlfriend may tell me, that joke you said about the horse's head or something. You told that last week to somebody else. I said yes. And next week I'm going to tell it to somebody else that's
right.
different. Listen, I can't listen. If you're going to hang with me all the time, not only are you going to have to listen to all these jokes, you may be obligated to laugh at them. Just not to sit in judgment. There's actually, I think Jerry Seinfeld was once complaining that he would appear on talk shows like Carson and Letterman and stuff. And his relatives would say, you told the same jokes last week on Carson that you told on Letterman this week. He goes, hey, you're not supposed to see everything I do. Even for people only see me once in a while.
Yeah.
I have to tell the same, I'm not that brilliant.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of talk shows, I always miss the Craig Ferguson show.
Craig Ferguson, who had the show before Jon Stewart, The Daily Show?
No, his show.
Oh, I know. I was thinking Craig Kilborn. Craig Ferguson was the Scottish guy.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that was a good show. Yeah.
Oh, I loved his show. He wasn't biased like these talk show idiots are now. He didn't play the monkey game with the studios and be a studio's monkey like all the rest of these talk show hosts that are on there for late night.
Well, those late night talk shows, you're talking about the political content. For some reason, they all are of a type. And all that really matters is how funny they are. And if you don't get along with that type of politics, you're not going to find it funny.
Right.
But you're not totally wrong, because while liberals don't like to watch like Fox News, the opposite is the same way. The conservatives don't like watching the late night talk shows because that's not a whole lot different on the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
The only difference is the late night talk shows at least doesn't pretend to be news and is just telling jokes. But many times they get on their high horses and soapboxes, and then you start to say, like, there's a show, the Bill Maher Show. Yeah. Bill Maher sometimes loses track of the fact that he's a comedian. You can't just sit back and say, well, I'm only telling jokes. No, you're actually making a lot of. I mean, that's good that you're making maybe pointed political comments, but don't try to just say I'm making jokes, because it's you're not.
I never liked him. Bill Maher sucks.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, all those. I mean, actually, I'll tell you something. I'm glad you mentioned this about conservative a lot of people think conservatives don't have a sense of humor, and at least when it comes to politics. And I'll tell you, the reason why liberals are, all these comedians are liberals, or liberals are better comedians or something, is because they are making fun of the people in power. People in power, it's very hard. Conservatives, we like to think of as like, the ruling class.
Yeah.
It's very hard for the kings and the duchesses and everything to make fun of the poor people. Oh, look at that homeless guy. Look how funny he is. It's not funny now, but it's funny when the guy down
there
on the is making fun of the people up high. Yeah, I tell you, comedy is always up. You always have to hit up. You can't hit down. Now, which brings me to another good point, is that you can't. You have to. Okay, I'll give you. You were talking about the Three Stooges.
Yes.
Do you know that every week they would, when they were making the Three Stooges movies? I don't know if it was every week, but every month they would make a new one in the day. They would actually, the writing committee and everything would get together and say, oh, what group of people take themselves too seriously that we can make fun of this week, that the Three Stooges could bring down to their level. And that's basically why the Three Stooges are so funny,
I like some of them golf episodes, or football, or beer making, or okay. So I think I see your point.
Yeah, well, conservative, really awful groups of people like the Nazis and stuff. They weren't very funny. They had no sense of humor, and part of the reason why was they were making fun of people that you shouldn't be making fun of. People with special needs, people of certain religions, people of certain skin color. I mean, that were impoverished. They thought making fun of them was funny.
Yeah.
We don't, even in America, we didn't think that was funny.
As a matter of fact, I think that's the reason why they always made fun of high society and the
exactly.
Okay.
Do you know the Three Stooges? I tell you, there's a funny story about the Three Stooges doing that same thing. There's a movie called Trading Places with Eddie Murphy.
Oh yes,
and
one of my favorite movies.
The movie Dan Aykroyd, where they switch, where a poor guy switches with a rich guy, and then to see what happens. And these two guys say they can do it. It was actually like a few weeks from being in theaters, and somebody brought it to the attention of the writers and directors and the producers of the movie. John Landis made the film. Said, "Do you know there's a Three Stooges episode where it's pretty much the same thing happens?" They try to teach the Three Stooges to be gentlemen and stuff, and then at the end they introduce them at a dinner, and then it all ends in a pie fight. The Three Stooges brought them down, and it wasn't going to happen the other way. But I thought it was wild that they had already made an entire movie that they didn't know was already, the plot was pretty much already taken in a Three Stooges movie. Three Stooges 20-minute movie. It wasn't even a 2-hour movie.
I love them guys. You know what was really interesting about the Three Stooges movie was some of the people who later on became famous people who were in their shorts.
Yeah.
But the one I always will remember is Lucille Ball.
Lucy, yes. Lucy is the one where they're playing football, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know. But she's in one of them. Yeah. Lucy's in quite a few things. Lucy's in, before she had her TV show, she was in, with Desi Arnaz, she was in a lot of movies where she's not all that funny as she was on television. And in fact, they actually, when they put her on a TV show, they said she's too pretty to be funny. You have to be funny looking to get laughs. But she proved that you could be beautiful looking person and get laughs. They also didn't want Desi Arnaz to play her husband. They wanted a guy with an American accent, not a Spanish accent, human accent. Who spoke Spanish, but he turned out fine too.
I'm glad Lucille stuck to her ground.
Yeah. Also, Lucy wasn't all that young when she was on that show. I think she was already in her 40s. Yeah, she was in her 20s and 30s in the 1930s and 1940s.
Okay.
In these movies, MGM musicals and stuff, and then she stars in a few of them, but for the most part she has a main part in them, but she's not the lead character. And she's very good. And what's kind of neat about the Lucy is that when you watch her in on I Love Lucy, it's all in black and white.
Yes.
But when you see her in these old movies from the 30s, from the 40s, big bright red hair, which you don't see on television. I mean, most people only know Lucy from the TV, and it was black and white. Even on a color TV, it was in black and white. Yeah. So tell me, what have you been keeping up with sports?
Sports, and I was looking at a little bit of the debates, the vice president debate and the presidential debate. So we figured tonight we would have a little bit of a debate. The only problem is we have no moderator.
That's all we did.
Yeah, that's all
We're all
do.
debating.
So we are going to debate on some subjects before our show ends tonight.
Okay.
Now, the first subject we're going to debate on is food. Food, I think food, sir, is disgusting. I think all types of food is very disgusting. And I don't think you and your food critics are not allowed to even say anything about food.
Okay, well, we talk about food all the time, and I have to say that if food didn't taste good, certain foods we wouldn't eat them. Like, for example,
that's not true. That's
candy.
Not true.
No, candy always tastes good to me.
That's not true. Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you, food is disgusting. That is not true. And you use that word smart against me. Don't use that word smart against me.
I'm not gonna. Okay, whenever I think of you, I never think of being smart. Well, I think my finger's smart, but that's it. Just jabbing in my eye. But food, okay, you won that round.
Thank you. Next, we'll talk about women.
Oh,
women.
What? There's nothing more important than being a lovely woman.
Being with a lovely woman, they will put you in the bind. They will put you in the bind. They will put you in areas that you do not know of.
I understand what you're saying, my esteemed colleague, but let me tell you something. Yes, you do things with women that you would normally not do yourself. Like, for example, you're in a restaurant, for example, eating that disgusting food, and then some guy tries to, says something awful or is offensive to the woman you're with.
That's not true.
And then she turns around and says, "Aren't you going to hit him?" Why? I didn't come here to get in a fist fight. I just came here to eat.
Excuse me.
I came here to see you, not to fight him. But you're right. They sometimes will put you in a. I mean, you sometimes, but also sometimes they will bring you to exalted heights. Maybe I would like to watch TV all day long, but if a woman's in my life, I usually have to get a job and in order to be a well-rounded person to have fun together with
her. I must interrupt. I have to say none of it's true.
Okay.
None of it's true, and I will want to put out my policies on that. I will bring out the truth markers on women. That's all I can say about women.
And that is the smartest thing you've not said all day. Speaking of being smart.
Yes.
Now, which is all that debate is all about. Shows you how smart you are.
Don't use that word smart around me.
I remember once being on a show. Actually, it was the Gorgeous Georgia that you mentioned. And I remember somebody, we always had fun on the show.
Yeah.
And I remember we used to have call-in phone calls, and sometimes we get the worst, but sometimes we get someone and commenting on what we're saying. And one person said, I'd like to ask an intelligent question, and I just said, you picked the wrong show for that. But now every show I'm on, whenever somebody says that, I just say that.
And those callers were sometimes pretty mean, but you know what? They did brighten up a few things.
On my worst day, I could handle those.
Yeah.
Those chumps. I could. Yeah. I never let them get me down.
No, and I think what was very interesting is how the show flowed. Yeah. It was ebbs and flows on the show, but that's another day.
It's actually still on. You could catch it I think there are new YouTube episodes that were put up today. So,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of them still up there in perpetuity,
Yes.
just like this show is on.
That's right.
YouTube is great. I mean, everyone's in show business.
That's right. Yay! Tap dance.
In fact, I have plans to be on a few shows in the next week or so, including your show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Which is one of my favorite shows to be on.
That's right. And let me tell you, this man is Regis Philbin. He has taken over.
I'm I'm in a better place than Regis Philbin.
Yeah.
But anyway, oh, by the way, I always like to point out my costume when I'm wearing. This you were talking about religion and everything, and a religious woman gave me this. She bought this at a religious bookstore or something, and it actually has a biblical. You can read that there,
Nice.
but it has a lightning bolt on it. I'm sort of like, and she didn't buy it for the biblical proverb. She bought it because the lightning bolt, because I'm kind of famous for being struck by lightning, in 1987 in this house. Yeah, in this house. I'm not too far from this room, actually. It went through. I've talked about it on other shows, but this is the scene of the crime. This is where I almost ended it all, but I'm still here, and I'm wearing my lightning bolt.
See, I thought with the lightning bolt there, I thought you was being a weatherman.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will go more into this subject next time. My friend did ask me a question about women, and he said, has there ever been a woman that you never liked? And I said, well, not really, because I like all women.
You know what my type is? They're all my type.
That's right. They're all my type. I take that back. The only type of women who I like are the women who like me.
That's my favorite.
That's right.
Yeah, of all those, I like them all, but those are my favorites.
That's right.
The ones who like me best.
Oh, well, I could definitely tell you some stories, especially when I was in the Navy. But
wait, just when the show is getting exciting,
I know
that's almost over. Well, tell us something about the Navy.
I was overseas in Greece. Met this very nice lady in Greece, and lo and behold, it was a sports bar. So when we had time to go in the sports bar to catch some American sports, the last day I was in that port, she gave me a big old kiss. I mean, a big one too.
That's great.
And because I knew her, and it's like we talked and stuff, and I was like, oh, I wish I could stay here and be with you, but we had to sail on, and I miss her, and woohoo, because that was a long time ago.
She's a Grecian?
Greek. Yeah.
A Grecian.
A Grecian Greek.
Not a Grecian urn, but a Grecian.
But she's a Greek woman.
A Grecian formula.
Yeah. And United Arab Emirates. Oh, fine women over there too.
Dubai?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dubai. I was there in Dubai.
Tallest building is there.
Yeah. I was there in Dubai before it was built up.
Yeah. It was a monarchy.
Yeah. Dubai almost looked like Kansas City when I got over there.
It was a protectorate.
But I'll tell you more
You've been
stories.
to Dubai, wow.
Yes, it was
They
really nice.
just have a peace agreement with Israel now, so I think they're now going to be even more tourism there.
Yes.
So maybe I can go there.
Yeah, you can go there. Everybody, we all go to Dubai. Have some fun.
So but you actually got to meet people in Dubai.
Yes, I did.
I always got the idea when you go to these places, they keep the tourists and the regular people, the people who live there, away from each other.
Well, when you're in the Navy, I'll put it to you this way: when you're in the Navy, you're the guinea pig. You gotta go meet the real people.
Part of traveling is meeting other people.
Yes.
And you learn. And they say, we love to talk about politics, but I love to talk politics with people from other countries, because I like to not only hear what they have to say about their leaders, but I also like to hear what they say about our leaders.
Yeah.
And I remember, and before I go on, let me just before we end, I remember asking lots of people over the last few decades about American presidents, and they all say the same thing, pretty much the same thing. We like Reagan,
Uh-huh.
and we like Clinton. Not too crazy about the Bushes. But that was before Obama. They probably like Obama too. I'm not sure about the other presidents, but
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I would like to travel overseas, but we'll do that again sometime when this virus is pretty much gone.
yeah.
But thank you, Kevin K. Lazar, for helping me host
Hey!
the show. And once again, we are brought to you by I forgot my sponsors now.
The skunk.
Skunk removing soap and trim that fat.
Yeah.
We lost 300 pounds, just
Skunk,
like what you can do. Skunk
the
soap
skunk
remover.
soap.
remover.
Yeah.
And Gamblers Anonymous.
Gamblers Anonymous.
Yes, that's right. Roasting
Gamblers Anonymous. He's my favorite Greek writer. Speaking of Greek.
Yes. And we will see you on the next show. And until then, it is goodbye. Woo!
And